Good morning, everybody. Another day in the markets, and just going to be walking through what I'm looking for today. And always, like I have been, just going to be live updating during the trading session and seeing what I like and seeing if I take any trades. So let's get into it with the pre-market analysis. There's about 8 minutes until market open. First and foremost, going into today, earlier in the week there was non-farm payroll on this Friday, but because of the shutdown, I guess it got taken off. So now there's only orange folder news, 10 a.m. With the consumer sentiment from U of M. And as we can see, this week we have been expanding lower after we have closed through this previous new week opening gap. And then we tried to test this daily order block right here. And we have continued to close through previous bullish fair value gaps, bullish BISIs. So now my eyes are shifting towards this low right here. So now that I have my higher time frame draw on liquidity, I want to go down into the 15-minute chart and see what has happened in the overnight session. So as you can see in the overnight session, the midnight open, we immediately ran up, took out the Asia buy side liquidity during the London session, and then the London session reversed and has now dropped a considerable amount, has taken out both the Asia buy side liquidity and the Asia sell side liquidity. And we are now trading below that midnight open. So we are in we're in a deep discount. Um, and because my eyes are lower on this here sell side liquidity, I want to be able to position myself uh, above midnight open in a premium and then towards some relatively equal lows. So because we're trading below the midnight open and there's currently relatively equal lows right here, I would like to see us trade back up above this midnight open and then go lower. But because it seems like these relatively equal lows are going to get taken out, I'm probably going to be a bit more hands off today. Uh, I do think this has the potential to be a New York expansion, but because we have dropped considerably so much, I just want to see some sort of rebalance first into an area of premium. And if at that time there's no relatively equal lows for me to target, then that is just going to be the day for me, and I just won't trade at all. But three things with my system: I need a higher time frame draw on liquidity, I need manipulation in the opposing direction of the drawn liquidity, and I need some relatively equal levels to target. So right now, I have one of those things, which is the relatively equal lows. Um, but or I have two of those things, which I know is the sell side liquidity down here from the daily chart. But I need to see better structure, just because of this large expansion that happened in the overnight session. So I say all that to say I'm going to be a little bit more patient coming into today and seeing if we just expand lower and taking out these relatively equal lows, or if we start to get a rebalance higher and we start to take some sort of buy side liquidity above the midnight open is what I'll be watching for. So all in all, I'll continue to update you guys on what I'm looking at for today and see if I take any trades and just continue to update throughout the session. Okay, so I ended up taking a paper short here, and the thesis behind this is there was a slight SMT at these 1 minute highs right here above the 8:30 open. Price has been bearish the entire morning. As we can see at the midnight open on NQ, we immediately ran up, took out the buy stops from the Asia session, shifted delivery lower, and now we're heavy going into the morning session. So I'm expecting a continued New York expansion lower. On top of that, what I'm seeing from the dollar index is price is trading below the midnight open here. So I'm expecting some pressure to be relieved in that area to go higher. So as the dollar index goes higher, it's going to have more pressure on the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq. And now since the S&P 500 has taken that daily sell side liquidity right here, I'm going to take 5 off right here. Okay. And then I'm going to leave some for that daily sell side liquidity to see if NQ can get there as well, although despite it lacking behind just a little bit. But price is very heavy here. As at midnight open, we traded up, took out the Asia buy side, sustaining value below the Asia sell side, and now continuing to be heavy into New York open. So I'm going to leave it running here for that daily sell side liquidity and see if it can get tagged. Okay, just an update. Still in this trade, leaving runners. I took 5 off as ES touched these daily sell side lows and NQ didn't. But what I'm liking right here is how both ES and NQ are respecting the upper quadrants of the fair value gaps. On the 1 minute, it's kind of a large chart or a large gap, but on the 3 minute, you can see that this lower quadrant is being respected, which I like. This was why I'm allowing the runner to go, and I'm also having my stop loss in profit above that second fair value gap, just in case price doesn't want to trade into there just a little bit. But we can see that price is respecting the lower half of these quadrants, the consequent encroachment. So that's just something that I like, that I'm going to continue to monitor. Okay, prices coming close to my stop loss that's in profit. We're starting to work the other half of the 5 minute sell side imbalance, and starting to kind of form a gap for the 15-minute bearish for value gap that could open up. So I'm expecting to get ticked out here, which is filled all the way through this fair value gap. ES is working a bit higher, so just going to continue to monitor this. The 10 a.m. candle is opening in about less than a minute, so I'm going to watch this and see how we react now that this 5 minute fair value gap got filled and this new 10 a.m. candle is about to open up. So. Okay, starting to displace lower after the 10 a.m. news. You can see that we respected the consequent encroachment of this 5 minute fair value gap. Looks cleaner on a 10-minute chart where there's just one gap from the open. We can see that this lower quadrant is being respected. 10 a.m. price open, large volume imbalance, came back up, filled it, and then now we're moving lower, displacing below these lows right here, while respecting the lower quadrant of that fair value gap and continuing to run lower. Still have some runners left to sell side paper trading on this Friday, just to get some reps in, just a taper read. But yes, just continuing to monitor this. Liking all of this so far, how heavy this is. Let's check Dixie. Dollar index is still moving lower below the midnight open, so a bit uncorrelated at the moment. Okay, prices rebalance back higher after sweeping these internal lows right here, and then a run on this fair value gap after sweeping the lows. So I'm not surprised by this run higher, and we have this S&T at the daily lows below 8:30 and midnight open. So I'm not surprised at this, and the dollar index cannot get any steam to go higher yet. So not surprised on this relief bounce right here from NQ and ES. So just a couple ticks close from my stop loss that's in profit. That's above this fair value gap right here. So I'm going to continue to monitor this and see what's going on. But notice how we're just chopping around after that draw on liquidity was met on one asset. After that draw was met, we've just been in this range right here. We had the open move, the relatively equal lows taken, then ES took the sell side liquidity that was the target for today. Now we're just range bound, which is important. After these objectives are taken, price can become a bit more lackluster. So that's what I'm noticing right now. Okay, still in this trade. Price initially rebalanced after moving lower from the 10 a.m. news, then moving higher. We had the 15-minute fair value gap open up from the drop lower at open, and then we had an SMT inside of that fair value gap, small here, but ES was able to get inside of that 15-minute fair value gap and sweep out that 945 high, and NQ failed to do so. Following that, following our SMT, we have our internal model right here where we have a change in state of delivery, a run, it's a very small fair value gap right here, run on a small fair value gap, closure below, retrace back to EQ of the range after we close below this low, 22 model, and then now we're moving lower. Just broke the low of day, and like I said, leaving runners for that daily sell side level. Now that we have closed below this low of day, I'm expecting speed through to the daily sell side level. This trade has been going on forever. But like I said in the previous slide or in the previous part of the video, rejected this 15-minute fair value gap with the SMT. The draw on liquidity is the daily sell side liquidity on NQ. ES is starting to pick up some momentum below it, and NQ is still leaving these relatively equal lows right here, just teetering around it. So just leaving this trade open. My stop loss is now below, way below my entry point now. Below this inversion fair value gap, 22 model up here, and then leaving it above this previous low right here. So just going to continue to watch, and this should take profit pretty soon. Dollar index inversing this 15-minute fair value gap, which I like. Now I want to see it hold as support on the top half of it, and NQ should go into that daily sell side level. So all right, there it is. Order filled from the 15-minute fair value gap, opening lower after heavy bearishness in the overnight session. Very good trade, tape reading on this Friday. Yeah, so I'll walk through the trade and run it back. All right, so to start from the top, we have the closure below the previous new week opening gap, and then we're also having bearishness after we've reached these all-time highs, and we're starting to disrespect this daily order block. So coming into the morning, first thing I notice is that if I turn on the ICT kill zones, I notice that at 12 a.m. at midnight open, we run up, take out buy side liquidity during the London session, shift lower, start to respect the bearish fair value gap, and then we take out the Asia sell side liquidity. Now, coming into pre-market, right before the 9:30 open, I noticed that we are trading below the. Oh wait, hold on. Let me come into NQ actually because that's ES, but same rules apply. Midnight, we come up, take out buy side liquidity, shift structure to the downside for a London reversal. We respect it. Get back below the midnight open before pre-market or during pre-market before the 9:30 open. I recognize that we're below midnight open but above the 8:30 open, and we are heavily bearish because of the swing up to take out buy side liquidity after the midnight open. So now that I have my drawn liquidity, which is the daily sell side level, I want to see either a run on this high or displacement lower and a fair value gap is created. And at open on a 15-minute chart, you can't really see it, but on a 1-minute chart, there's an SMT right before the open. We displace lower. I see that we respect consequent encroachment of this fair value gap right here off the open. So I take my short once we begin to respect consequent encroachment of this gap. And then I took half of my position off once ES swept the daily sell side level and NQ didn't, just to protect against a run back into buy side and higher to go possibly higher to sweep out highs before going lower to the sell side level on NQ. I left my stop loss slightly below break even, slightly above break even, and then we had the 15-minute fair value gap open up at 10 a.m. Okay, and then at 10 a.m. we had another SMT inside of this 15-minute fair value gap where ES swept the inside of the 15-minute fair value gap and NQ failed to do so. So at this point, I had my stop loss right above the first presented fair value gap. I had it right above there because you can see we're respecting consequent encroachment of the 15-minute or the first presented fair value gap right here, right here, right here, and then again right here. So my stop loss is right here. And then after we have the SMT inside of the 15-minute fair value gap after 10 a.m. news, we have an internal model where I already have it marked out actually, where we have the change in state of delivery. There's a very small 1-minute fair value gap right here. We run down, shift delivery to the downside, rebalance the EQ of the range, and then it pretty much just was waiting and off to the races. And then I said, as soon as we breach below this low, we close below this low, I want to start seeing us sustain value below it. We can see we're still respecting the mean threshold of these order blocks as we create them. Still respecting it. See, right here. And then we eventually just go and take sell side liquidity, and now we're here. So tape reading on this Friday. Although I'm not trading with live accounts, I still never want to take a day for granted to get to the desk and tape read, hone in on my skills, and then just pretty much just watch how the market is reacting. So now what I want to do is just go back, journal everything that I saw, my emotions during this trade. But I think days like this are very important to still rep out what you're seeing, because it's days like this where you can continue to build your craft and continue to hone in on your model. So I want to take it down for now. It's Friday. Gonna enjoy the weekend. Go do some back testing, journaling, review some previous trades, continue to go over the model. And until next time, I'll talk to you guys later and trade safely.